My name is Suzanne. I live in Paris, France, and I work for myself as a marketing consultant.
So obviously in the wake of like this whole kind of coronavirus with like COVID, how has it impacted your day-to-day life and like your job?
Because most of the work that I do is working from home, it hasn't affected my job so much. Um, in terms of my day-to-day life, it has a huge impact because I am someone who's very extroverted. So am I have at 2 to 3 minimum social engagements per week. So either friends coming over for dinner, or me going out to meet people. That can include also work colleagues or work potential contacts. So in terms of
Sure.
drumming up new business, that is a big deal because you can do some of that on the phone, but some of it is just going to functions and networking functions and things like that, which don't exist right now.
Yeah.
Um, and making it I don't know if you're aware of what the restrictions are in Paris. So maybe I should
No.
start by telling you what the
Yeah.
restrictions are, because our lockdown is quite strict versus what I'm understood to be the case in the US. So we are in essentially in quarantine, what we over here we call confinement. So we are all in Paris, in France in general, but Paris is even stricter than the rest of the country. We are confined to our homes. We are, if we go out, or when we go out, we are obligated to have what is essentially an affidavit, a legal document that there are, I think, 5 or 6 cases in which you're allowed to go out. So that could be, if you have a job that requires you to go out. So if you're a cashier at a grocery store, you have to go. So that's one reason to be outside. You can be outside to do grocery shopping. So for me, for example, there are basically 2 reasons for me to be outside during this time. I can go and buy groceries, and I have the right to be outside for 1 hour per day, within a 1 kilometer radius to do some kind of personal exercise, but on my own. So even I live alone, but even if I lived with someone and we wanted to go walk, we are not legally supposed to do that. And this document, you have to date it, timestamp it, and sign it. So if you write it, you write it or you print it. If you have a printer, you write out your document and you say, okay, I'm going to go do grocery shopping. You can't reuse it. And if you get caught, I mean, the police have the right to randomly stop you at any point. And if they deem that you are not, like maybe you've gone too far or that your reason is not valid, then they'll fine you. We are very locked down. So you're not like, I can't, if I were to take the metro, for example, I would have to have a very valid reason to get on the metro.
Yeah. It doesn't even compare in the US.
And I see people breaking the rules, but
Yeah.
in my neighborhood, not so much. But to give you an idea, we just entered the start of our 6th week of this. So we've already been doing this for 5 weeks. I have the farthest, and all of our, by the way, for exercise and stuff, all of our parks are closed. So no parks are open. It's just streets, basically. So the start of week 6 of confinement, and the furthest I have gone is 1.5 kilometers from my home.
Wow. So like
And I
you
go
you said
outside maybe 3 times a week.
so you said earlier that like you're a big extrovert, and I mean I know that living in Paris it can definitely get cramped. So like what has been kind of like the biggest challenge for you, I guess, during this time? Is it just the
Lack of
lack of
social.
any social? Yeah.
I mean, it, I have a lot of FaceTime. I mean, I spend the majority, honestly, it's hard to be productive now because I'm on the phone with my friends here, then I'm on the phone with friends and family in the States. So it's like my day gets eaten up by everybody checking in on everybody, which is lovely. But and it is great. And I do schedule, we might schedule an aperitif call with a friend or a virtual dinner or something like that. But you can't, we're human beings. We're pack animals, we're most of us, and some of us more so than others. And that human contact is a very difficult, is very difficult. The lack of it.
Regarding like through your lens, through what you've seen in Paris and like how strict they are, do you like agree personally like with these ordinances or these laws that are in place, or do you think they should be looser? Like what, almost like seeing the climate in the world, like would you change it?
No. Here, no. I think they're doing the right thing.
You do think it was the right thing?
I think they're doing the right thing. This is a crowded city. It's a big city. It's the biggest city in France, and the most crowded. And I live in, just so you know, like my arrondissement. So Paris is broken into these different areas called arrondissement. My arrondissement is the most populated. So, you're looking at very dense population. This is hard. It is hard. But I think it's right, because there are only so many hospitals with only so many beds and only so many respirators. And even if we get more respirators and maybe more bed space, you still have to have people who know how to run those things. So there are limits. There are finite resources that have to be managed. And that's, what we've seen over here in Europe. I mean, I've seen, France is right next to Italy. And so I've seen, what they've had to do over there, where they've had to choose who lives or who dies. And it's not because they can't.
It's inhumane.
It's not because if they had the right equipment, it's not that they couldn't save them. It's just that they only have one respirator. So which one lives? So, given that we're in a densely populated area, I think they're doing the right thing. The next step is what they're thinking is to open schools. So middle schools and grade schools, not high schools or colleges, but middle schools and grade schools. I think that I know bars and restaurants won't be open before July. And that is a big part of French life, big part. And that's not, you think of French people it's a food culture here. So that's not happening. That's a big impact. No events. So when you think of like the Cannes Film Festival, for example, there are, a lot of big events that happen like anywhere, but I know I also work in wine, and a big event that I was planning on staffing for the end of March has been postponed until end of July.
Well, thank you for talking. Thank you for giving me your insight, just telling me like what's going on in French life. It's valuable, and it's much different than a lot of other places in the world. So
it's very different from where you are.
So with that, I'm going to end this right here. Thank you.
My pleasure.
The ECHO Foundation was created by Nobel Peace Laureate Elie Wiesel and family therapist Stephanie Ansaldo to promote justice, tolerance, and humanity at home and abroad. Based in Charlotte, North Carolina, ECHO enlists notable humanitarians to inspire the next generation of humanitarians through student-led initiatives. For more information about the ECHO Foundation, visit www.echofoundation.org or follow our Facebook and Instagram pages.